to our April workshops, which is going to be focusing on the quest for stability and ease and finding ease in your pelvis. Okay, so this will be a 4-week series, and I welcome you. I'm going to begin with just to go over a few key points visually so that you can see the internal works of your pelvis. And then we're going to see how we can discover that and find accessing areas of ease within that area. Okay, so let me share my screen. So over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be exploring 4 separate points to illustrate that your pelvic floor is a powerful support for your physical. 1 week we'll explore physical. The next week we're going to be exploring emotional, mental, and then the spiritual well-being for your own upliftment and transformation. And we're going to look at ways that we can access and strengthen and balance this area so that you will be richly rewarded, so that your internal shrine will become and build it to be indestructible. Okay, so that's going to be a focus. And does the pelvic health really matter? Sure it does. For balance and stability, for healthy bowel and bladder function, for freedom of movement, and improved sexual health. So I have a picture here just of meeting your pelvis. So if you're just looking at it from a bony structure, and here, the iliac crest, that's your hip bone. So I'll use the basic, very common referral. But if you look at the pelvis itself as a bowl, and we're going to be exploring your pelvic bowl. All right, how we're going to experiment tipping it forward and tipping it back. This bony structure back here, the back of the sacrum, and then the tailbone. You always hear me talk about your tailbone. So there's your tailbone. Here's the pubic bones in here. So this way you get to see the bony structure. But what I like is this visual here, which is the anterior view. You're looking forward now at your pelvic and looking at the diaphragm, right? So you always hear me talk about your diaphragm. This is that muscle that's we use to breathe. All right, and then you can look at, you're going to see the muscles in here of the psoas. You'll hear me often talk about the psoas muscle, which connects from your spine all the way down into the inner portion of comes across your hip bones and right into the upper thigh bone. All right, your quadratus lumborum, which are these muscles alongside your spinal, which are really important because when they get really tight, that can create a lot of problems for pain. So we're going to be working with those muscles today. The obturator internus, these internal muscles here, and the gluteus medius. So all of these are when we're going to work on the movement here for healthy and movement. All right. But when we just look a little bit closer, the pelvic floor, this is what you hear me. We're going to talk about a hammock effect. And this is why we're going to try to tap into strengthening these muscles and sphincters, which are in your pelvic floor, which help support and do all the internal working of what we want to develop. So just one more photo, just to get a little closer look into what we're going to really go deeper into is exploring your pelvic floor muscles. So when you look at these muscles in here, these are those internal hammock. We're going to look at exploring the front portion, all right, of the pelvic floor, the back portion, which is where the anal sphincter is. The front portion is, we're going to be working where the front of your pelvis, and then the center, okay, which we're going to be doing the mula bandha. So I'm going to explore the feeling and sensation there to see if you can somehow tap into working that together synergistically, or if you feel that you have some imbalance there. And we're going to start a little exercise to explore what that might feel like, okay? So having a little bit I'll send you these photos so you can look at maybe a little bit closer to get a better idea of it. If you don't already understand it, I think that it's helpful to look at it and understand. And over the next few weeks, we'll be, repeating certain exercises and doing that to the best of our ability. All right, so we'll get started. And I'll invite you to go to your mat. And please, does everyone have a block? So as you begin to settle on your abdominals, gently rest your forehead on your forearms, extend your legs behind you, and find a comfortable distance between your feet so that you can feel supported. And as you slowly just take a moment to bring your attention inward, let's all arrive together, scanning our body and just noticing what we notice. Notice the places of physical tension or tightness, any holding, and notice any places of ease and comfort. Take a moment here now to consider what your intention might be for your practice today. What is it that you would hope to receive from this practice? And allow that to just come a center of awareness for you. The pelvis is the center and home of our shakti. That's our power. And today we're going to use our own wisdom, our own awareness, so that we really can connect to this part of our often neglected part of our anatomy. So begin to deepen your breath. And as you begin to deepen your breath, notice that sensations as you inhale, and see if you can breathe deep down into that pelvic area. Feel that sensation of the breath expanding deep down into the pelvis, and then exhaling slowly. We want to access and activate today. So just begin by activating your breath. Deep inhale and deep exhale. And take one more breath. And then as you exhale now, slowly open your eyes. And we're going to make our way up, back into child's pose. Shift your hips back, stretch your spine, and just shift your hips from side to side. And then very slowly make your way up and make your way into a seated position. So whether it's cross-legged for you, so now looking and thinking about that hammock that we saw in the photo, we're going to see if we can access the front part. So here's your pelvic bowl. Just put your hands onto your hips. And I want you to sit way back. As you sit back, you go into that bucket seat, and notice as if you're tipping your bowl backwards. This is a container, right? Your pelvis is a container. And then I want you to gently lift up. As you lift up, feel the hip bones lifting forward and lifting up. So now you're tipping forward. And then I want you to find a balance where that you feel that your bowl is not tipping, so that you can find your center. So again, repeat. Find the back, tip back, and then tip all the way forward. Lift up forward, lean forward if you need to, and then find your center. Good. Now I want you to sit back. So I'm going to go in a side view, because we're going to tip back now and bring your hands behind you. So now you're sitting more back, and we're going to see if we can access the back part of the pelvic muscles, and particularly in the area of the anus, okay? So that's what we're going to try to access now. And we're going to do what they call a mudra. So remember, the word mudra means to seal, to join together. So we're going to do what they call in the yoga terminology, it's called the Ashvini mudra, which basically is you're going to contract at the anus and you're going to squeeze in. And I just want you to isolate, not the whole pelvic floor. I want you to see if you can just isolate, access just the Ashvini mudra. So sitting back gives you a sense of sitting on that. So the inhale is going to be your very relaxed inhale. And then on the exhale, squeeze just from that area. See if you can access that sensation just at the anus. And then your inhale, relax. When you exhale again, squeeze, access just that area of the pelvis. And then inhale, release. And we'll do that one more time. Exhale, squeeze, just that area, not the whole pelvic region, and then relax. Good. And then that's accessing the back portion. Now I want you to access the front portion. So I'm going to invite you to lean forward now. So now you're tilting your pelvic forward, and even bring your hands out slightly in front of you. So now you're leaning more to the forward portion of the pelvic floor. And now we're going to activate the front. So this is where your bladder function is, right? So all through there, in the front portion, your clitoris, that area there. So I want you to really sort of tap into that. This mudra of squeezing the front portion, isolating that, is called the Saholi mudra. Saholi. That's the female variation. The male variation is different. So we're all female here. So we're just going to do the Saholi mudra. And just see if you can access just the front portion without squeezing up the whole pelvic floor. So see what you can do, the best you can do. Just isolate that by sitting forward. Inhale is relax, and then as you exhale, just gently squeeze there. See if you can notice it. It might be hard at first, but with a little bit of practice, you'll start to feel that. And then inhale is soften. Exhale gently, just accessing the front portion of that area. And then release. And then one more time, just the front. And then release. Good. It's very subtle, all right? So don't feel like if you're not feeling something, that's okay. It's a very subtle, gentle squeeze. I don't want you to be gripping as hard as you can. Just try to make a gentle squeeze. So you're trying to access an area that is not always all that familiar. Now, sitting up in your upright position, so now we're trying to access the center portion of that hammock. All right, so now when we we're going to actually do the Mula Bandha. So the Mula Bandha is between the front and the back, right? So they're between the front of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis. The back is the anus, the front is the front portion of the clitoris area. And then the area in between where the vagina is, that muscle tissue there. We're going to see if we can access just that area. So that area of the vagina, you're going to gently lift and squeeze internally. So this is again, a very subtle movement. You're not going to see the gripping, but just gently lift from the center. And then on your inhale, release. On your next exhale, gently squeeze in and up. And then exhale, release. And then last time. And then release. So that is actually the Mula Bandha area very specifically. Many classes, though, when you hear me say, and I say, lift the pelvic floor, we're engaging all of that together. So now, and in general, I think in general, in most yoga classes, you're going to hear lift your pelvic floor, which is going to invite you to engage all of that. So let's see if we can bring it all together. The Ashwini Mudra, all right, the Saholi Mudra, and the Mula Bandha, lift it all in and up. On your exhale and inhale, relax. And again, don't overly grip like you're trying to grip for dear life. I want this to be more subtle. Try to see if you can just access it by gently on your exhale, squeezing in and up. And release. And one more time. Squeezing in and up. And then relax. All right, so that was really breaking it down. 1, 2, 3, all right? And we're going to try to access that throughout the practice today. But when you hear me say lift the pelvic floor, engage in a way that, drawing them all in together. But by isolating that, you may have noticed that one area may have been harder for you. It may not have been as easy to access. That might be an area that you need to work on. And that's something for you to, You can certainly email me, text me afterwards if you have some questions, and we can work on that, privately, not an issue. But I wanted you to bring an awareness to where you feel you might need to balance if you feel that there's a weakness. But if you feel that accessing it all together, that's awesome too. So this is where we're going to try to explore. So now we're going to do the pelvic reset. All right. So the pelvic reset, I'm going to invite you now to find your block, and we're going to work with the block a little bit. So with the pelvic reset, I'm going to demonstrate we're going to try to just gently access these muscles that are, especially the area of the QL and the psoas area, by releasing the low back area. So we'll come onto our back. If you want to observe me first, I'm going to take the block first on the longest width between my knees. My feet will be touching, so your feet are together, and you're going to come onto your back. As you come onto your back, bring your feet closer to your pelvis so that now the back of your spine is on your mat, shoulder blades down, your hands down by your side, and the block in between your knees, feet together, knees nice and wide. You're gently gripping the block. You're not squeezing it too hard, just gently gripping and holding. And all we're going to do is rock your knees side to side. Don't drop them to the floor. You just want to lift the hip off the floor and then rock to the other side. A gentle swaying back and forth, which is just awakening that low back region. And it's a nice pelvic reset, this is called. And just notice how that feels. Good. Come back to center. Now, change the direction of the block from the longest width to the middle width, and place that between your legs. Feet still together, knees slightly apart, gripping the block, hands down by your sides, and again, gently sway. And this should feel very, bring your awareness into your low back pelvic region. And that just gently squeezing and holding the block in place, activating your inner thigh and the subtler muscles that we're trying to access today. Great. Come back to center now. Now take the block on the thinnest level between your thighs. Your feet are together, hands down by your sides. Now this next exercise, I'm going to invite you first to just gently squeeze the block together. Inhaling is the release, but on your exhale, I want you to gently squeeze the block, give it a little bit of energetic connection so you can really feel the energy working its way up through the inner thighs, right into the groin, into the pelvis, with a gentle squeeze. Good. And then relax. And again, gentle squeeze, just a little bit more. Give a little bit more energetic squeeze now, a little bit more than before. Squeeze. On your exhale, you're squeezing. And then inhale, relax. Now, next time, I want you to squeeze, but this time really give it a lot more energetic quality. Really squeeze, 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 squeeze. So you really feel the energy, the blood, the flow going right up through your inner groin, feel the crease of your hips, and then squeeze the pelvic floor, squeeze it all in and up together. And then relax, release the block now. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, and then gently draw your knees together. And just relax a moment and feel the energetic quality coming up into the pelvic region. I just want you to be aware of that sensation. Notice what you notice. No right or wrong, just feel that. So what we're really doing is trying to tap in and bring that energy up into the pelvis, working those very subtle muscles in a different way. We're going to repeat this exercise again. So take your block, place it back between your inner thighs, feet together again, big toes touching, Squeeze the block. So your inhale is relaxed. Now exhale, squeeze the block. Give it a nice gentle squeeze, activating the inner thighs, activating through the pelvic floor. Lift the pelvic floor in and up, Mula Bandha, Ashwini Mudra, Sahuli Mudra. Squeeze it all in and up, and then relax. Inhaling. Now on your next exhale again, squeeze the block, engage the mudras, engage the bandhas, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze all in and up, and then relax. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale, exhale, squeeze inner thighs, energy up through the bandha, the mudras, squeeze it all together, activate the entire pelvic floor with the squeeze, up and lift, and then release entirely. Remove the block, separate your feet as wide as your mat, let your knees roll in together and release entirely. So I want you to release and relax those muscles that you just engaged, and then be aware of those physical sensations. Move the block to the side now, and now I'm going to invite you to place the soles of your feet together. If you have your knees, might want to actually use the blocks to relax, and you can just support your knees on the blocks on either side if that feels uncomfortable in your hips. But this is a very vulnerable position now. Soles of your feet together in what they call Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound ankle. But feel how that opens up the groin and the hips and brings a deeper awareness into that pelvic region. And I just want you to take a few breaths here so that when you inhale, breathe deep into the pelvic floor. Big diaphragmatic breath. Feel the diaphragm, that muscle you saw pushing on the belly, expand, but breathe deep into the pelvic area. And then exhale, relax. Nice big nourishing inhale. And then the exhale, releasing any pain, any shame, any guilt, anything you might be holding on to. Inhale, nourish. And then exhale, just let it be a letting go. And then slowly bring your knees back up. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Good. And then making your way up to sit in any way that you can, whether you roll up or push yourself up, go right ahead. We're going to come onto all fours, where we're going to just wake up the back of our legs and back and spine. So find your tabletop position, familiar pose, palms underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And just a couple rounds of your cat-cow. And I like to bend my elbows as I do this, like I'm coming into a push-up, bend my elbows and inhale up into my cow, lifting my heart, lifting my sternum. And then bend your elbows as you round back into your cat. Press into your shins, squeeze navel center towards the spine, your heart towards the spine. As you inhale again, bend your elbows like you're coming into push-up and lift up. Lift your tailbone, lift your heart. As you exhale, round, squeeze, draw that navel center in and up, zip that zipper, squeeze the pelvic floor muscles, really see if you can engage that Mula Bandha. And then press your hips back, stretch out your spine. Release your hands, just give them a shake, open and close, circle your wrists one way, circle them another way. And then make your way back up onto all fours. We're going to inhale, extend your right leg back, press with the ball of your foot. Activate by gently pressing back and forth. And then inhale, lift that right leg up. This time I'm going to invite you to bend your knee, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, different action. That's your inhale, lifting forward and up. On your exhale, bring your knee into your nose, squeeze in and up. And then inhale, keep the knee bent, lift your toe, Lifting straight up, feel that stretch across the front of your hip. And then exhale, knee to nose. Last time, inhale, knee bent. Lift your toe, pointing up towards the ceiling, looking forward and up. And then exhale, knee to nose. Lower your right leg, shift your weight, extend your left foot behind you, activate the back of your leg, gently rock back and forth. And then inhale, lift your left leg up, bend your left knee, point your toe up towards the ceiling, look forward and up, and exhale, knee to nose, squeeze in and up, out. Inhale, lift your left knee up, point your toes towards the ceiling, look forward and up. Exhale, knee to nose, squeeze. And then last time, inhale, lift the knee up, feel that stretch, and then exhale, knee to nose. Lower your left knee, and then we're going to just open it. We're going to do thread the needle for your shoulders. We're going to work with your left hand stays on the ground, right arm out to the side. As you inhale, lift your right arm up, maybe look up towards your right hand, feeling that openness through your chest. Exhale, thread the right hand under your left shoulder and stretch and reach, and repeat. Okay, so 2 times, repeat. Inhale, extend your right arm up towards the sky, look up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, thread the needle, right hand under your left shoulder, stretch and reach. Now last time we'll hold. Inhale, extend, lift your right arm up. And then as you exhale, now if you choose to, you can lower your head onto a block to rest or rest your right ear and cheek to the floor, depending how that feels. Extend your left arm forward, the back of your right hand's pressing onto the floor, and in a gentle puppy dog, press your hips, pelvis towards the back of your mat. Feel a lengthening in your back body. And awareness here through the opening through the pelvic floor as you press your hips back. Feel that stretch through the back and pelvic floor area as you extend your arms forward. Take another big breath here. Inhale. Soften at the pelvis area. Relax the pelvic floor. Slowly come out of this pose by sliding your left hand under your left shoulder. Come back up onto all fours as we activate the other side. Right hand down, left arm out to the side and up. Open up through a twist. As you exhale, take your left hand under the right and thread that needle as you reach. Inhale, slowly rotate. Really feel that opening in the chest and the shoulder, and then eventually your gaze. And then exhale, thread the needle. Look over towards your right shoulder as you reach as far as you can. And then last time, inhale, rotate, lift your left arm up. Let your gaze follow if you can. Open the heart, open the shoulder, lengthen your spine. Now as you exhale, thread your needle, left cheek, ear towards your mat, or you can rest it on a block. Let your left shoulder come to the mat. Right arm goes forward. Press your hips back into a nice puppy pose. And again, feel that opening through the pelvic floor. Bring your attention there as you breathe in and out. The inhale, nourishing, cleansing. Exhale, releasing. One more time, inhaling. On your exhale, slide your right hand under your right shoulder, left hand, and then slowly come up and come into a seated position. In a seated position, we're going to start with wide angle. Really put your hands onto those hip points. And again, I want you to tip your pelvis back. Feel how it feels to tip it back. You feel how the lower back rounds, your hips open here. Now, tip it forward to lift the spine. Press down through your hamstrings, knees. Might be a little tight still. We're going to see if we can open that up. Let's sit up nice and tall, fingertips out in front, and now tip forward. Notice how that feels as you tip forward. Now, as you're tipped forward, I want you to do that mudra, Sahuli mudra, the front of the pelvis, lift, squeeze in that little slight nut sensation in the front, and then tip back. Ashvini mudra, squeeze in and up through the anus, and then come upright, sit up tall, and bring it all together. Lift the entire pelvic floor, including the mudra and the bandhas. Lift, lift, lift. Feel that strengthening, that zippering up, that connection of drawing it in and up. I even feel it through my toes right now. So energetically, feel that connection. And now, relax. Bring your left foot in towards the sole of your foot, towards the inner thigh of your right foot. We're going to inhale, sweep your left arm over towards your right leg, stretch and reach. And then inhale with the fist of fire, come on up. Nice, strong bicep curl. And then inhale, stretch and reach all the way over to the right side. Go as far as you comfortably can go. And then as you come up, really root down through the pelvic floor and add a nice bicep curl. Last time, stretch and reach and hold here. So if you can, stack your shoulders. Feel that stretch as you side bending stretch. Take an inhale here. Now on your exhale, come up with that bicep curl. But now extend your left arm out to the floor in line with your shoulder here. Now I'm going to invite you, if your knees don't like this, you can just stay here and stretch here. That's the modification. But if you choose to, press into the palm of your left hand, press into your knee, and lift up in a nice extension, lateral extension here. Feel that stretch. Good. And now we're going to go back to the other side. Sit your hips down and then go all the way over and across. And now make this a bit of a flow as you come up. Lower the left hand, press into the knee and lift up here. And now you may want to extend your arm and you may even want to lift your foot up. So again, options. You can be seated, you can keep your foot on the ground, or you can lift. Feel that opening and stretch, lateral stretch. Now lower down your foot, your hips. Come over to the other side again. All the way over to the other side and stretch. And then lift up. Place your hand down. Lift up on your knee. Option here. Great. Adjust your knee underneath you if you need to so that you feel stable and steady. Arm is overhead. You can lift your leg. And next option, totally optional, is bend your knee and bring your hand to your leg for a quad stretch. So this may or may not be accessible if you have tight quads, but open your heart. This is called a half bow. Nice big opening through the heart, the whole front of your body. And when you're ready to release, lower the leg, lower your hips, come into that seated position, extend your left leg out, bend your right leg, place that foot in, and we'll do the other side. Sit up nice and tall. So I'm always going to encourage you to sit tall, feel grounded and rooted right through the pelvis. My hands to my hips is always a nice reminder if I'm sitting too far back or if I'm over hyperextending. So try to find your middle ground. Right arm is going to go up and over, extend, and then bicep curl up. Nice big tight bicep curl. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bicep curl. Last time, extend and reach. And this time when you come over, place your right hand on the floor, lift up, extend. Again, you can stay here if your knees don't like this. Stay here and just do a nice side bend extension here, or lift up. Lower your hips, come to the other side, extend and reach, and then lift up. Next level is maybe lift your leg, adjust your arms so that you feel supported in your arms and your legs. Lower down, lower your foot, lower your hips. Side bend all the way over. This will be the last one. Lift up, place your hand underneath your shoulder, press into your knee. Stay here, adjust your knees or your feet so that your arm feels supported. Extend your arm overhead, lift your leg up. And again, choice, bend your knee, bring your hand to your foot, and feel that opening. Press your thigh back and your shin towards the back wall. Feel that opening through the heart center. To come out of this pose, release your leg. And now I'm going to invite you to come back onto all fours. And then press up into your downward dog. Find space in your downward dog. Pedal your feet if you need to, or just find stillness and find the breath. From downward dog, walk your feet halfway up your mat, hip-width distance apart. Grab onto your forearms and take a nice forward fold. Just let your head hang and your spine hang, nice and long. And then slowly lengthen your neck and spine as you come halfway up. And then exhale, go forward fold all the way down. Crown of your head towards the floor. Soften your knees, sweep your arms all the way out to the sides as you come all the way up. Interlace your fingers, press your palms up towards the sky. Exhale, lean over to your right. Inhale, back to center, over to your left. Inhale, back to center. Release your hands down to the floor. I'm down to your sides, excuse me. Shoulders forward and up and roll them back. And repeat. Forward and up and roll back. One more time. Forward and up and roll back. Now let's separate your feet nice, wider than hip distance, hands on your hips. And we're just going to do pelvic circles. So I want you to, as if you're moving through all directions, the front, the side, the back, the side. So I want you to see if you can find any sticky areas. You might be a little sticky, and then see if you can smooth it out. Pelvic circles. Work through the pelvis, and then go the other way. And you might notice it feels different going in the other way. There might be different sticky points. And just notice where they are. Good. And then eventually make your way back to center and stand back feet together. And we're going to use the block again. So I'm going to invite you to pick up your block and place the block between your inner thighs, above your knee joints, and try to bring your feet as parallel as you can. So that's really important. We want to try to maintain the integrity of your feet. So find your balance by rocking back and forth between your toes and your heels. Keep your shoulders over your hips so you're still nice and tall, and feel that connection. Good. And then root down into the earth. We're going to inhale, arms all the way up. And then exhale, come hands to heart and sit in your chair. All right. So remember, when you sit in your chair, your hips are way back. Your knees are above your ankles, and when you look down, you can see your feet. So we're going to inhale, rise up, extend your arms all the way up, extension. Exhale, hands to heart, come back to chair. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, back to chair. Let's do two more. Inhale, rise up. When you rise up, remember to root to rise through your feet, and then as you exhale, come back into your chair, hips way back, shoulder blades down the back. Feel that connection. Feel the connection through the inner thighs, glutes, and then rise up, and then lower down. Again, with that gentle squeeze here, this activates those inner thighs. That helps you to remember to make that connection here, okay? So the tailbone is not tipped forward. So this is what happens sometimes, we tip it forward. So find your balance with your hip bones so that you're not too far forward, where here you're leaning too far forward, here it's too far back. But in the middle is just right. And when you find that just right point, you might notice you want your hips to hopefully feel somewhat imbalanced, right side, left side. Some of us might shift a little bit more to one side than the other. That happens over time. So I'm going to invite you to just bring awareness to try to see if your hips seem to be in the middle and balanced. And we'll work on that. If you feel an imbalance, see what you can do with shifting your weight so that you can feel stable and steady. So feet parallel, hips over heels, shoulders forward and up and down. And now we're going to continue to work with chair pose. I love the energy of chair. It really builds the heat in the body. At the same time, you're engaging the block. And again, remember that connection of drawing in and up on the exhale. You can engage the Mula Bandha if you choose to and relax it on your inhale. You can work with that throughout this pose. If you remember to do so, I'm going to encourage you to try to do that and feel that connection and build the strength. But remember to relax those muscles. You don't always want to be gripping. On the inhale, you relax the muscles. You're going to relax it, not so much that you drop the block, okay, but enough to keep a slight engagement of the block. So now we're going to inhale up, exhale into chair. Now when we inhale, we're going to come up and exhale into side bend. Inhale up, exhale into chair. Inhale up, now side bend in the opposite direction. Inhale back to center, exhale to chair. Inhale up, side bend to the opposite side. Inhale up, exhale chair. Inhale up, exhale opposite side. We'll do one more set, please. Inhale up, exhale into chair. Inhale, root to rise. Exhale, side bend. Inhale up, exhale, chair. Inhale up, and then exhale to the opposite side. Good. Now inhale up, exhale to chair. Now inhale, lift your heels. So you're coming up onto your heels. Good. Now exhale, lift up, lower your heels, rise up. And then exhale back to chair. Lift your heels. Play with balance just a bit. Then root to rise, inhale, lift. And then exhale, chair. Lift your heels, squeeze that block, feel that connection. Now, if you can, with your heels still lifted, root to rise. Use that strength to lift up to the top, and then exhale, lower your heels, and then lower your arms, and release. And just observe, notice how that felt, that energetic quality. Good. All right, we're going to release the block now. Take the block, and you can put the block down. Come up towards the front of your mat. Inhale, lift all the way up. We're going to move through a sun salutation. As you exhale, come down. Sweep your arms out to the side. Swan dive, fingertips down to the floor. Exhale. Inhale, come halfway up. And then as you exhale now, step back into your downward dog. In your downward dog, find stability and balance and ease. Create length in your spine and your back body. And remember that connection to your core. Draw that attention in now. As you exhale, we're going to come through to plank. So here's another great core engagement here. If you're finding this is too much for you, drop your knees. Shoulder blades down the back. But if you're in plank, core connection Zip the zipper up. Feel that connection through the pelvic floor in your plank pose. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, lower your knees. And then chest and chin all the way down. Inhale now, pressing through the pubic bone, pelvic bone, pressing in through the navel center. Find that pelvic triangle through your navel center and hip points. Press down through your tops of your thighs, tops of your toenails, hands alongside your chest. We're going to come up into a baby cobra. So find that connection, soften through the glutes, but then lift up with your hands off the mat. Feel that lift, but feel the connection through the pubic bone, that pubic triangle. Good, and then lower your hands and rest. Feel that way the body fires up on these poses. So these back bending poses do create a lot of heat in the body. So we're going to engage now again a little bit differently. I want you to inhale, lift up, lift your arms off the floor in cactus arms. And if you can, lift your legs so you're floating up on your navel center. You're balancing on that pubic bone, that pelvic triangle. Lift. And then exhale, release. Rest your cheek to the side. Feel that activation. And we're going to do that one more time, all right? So come back to center. Activate through that triangle. Lengthen your legs, extend your legs and lift a little bit higher if you can. Arms lift. Gaze, look down in front of you. You want the back of your neck long. Don't over crank your neck as you fire it up. Lift and hold. Breathe. And then exhale, release. Rest your cheek on the opposite side. Slowly, when you're ready, going to come up onto your forearms, tuck your toes, and then fire up your core again by lifting your pelvis off the floor. So this is going to activate the back muscles, core muscles. Hold. And then lower your knees and pelvis back to the floor. I'm going to repeat that a couple times. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, come into a long spine, activate an awareness around the pelvic area, feel the strong core muscles, and then release. As you come down, take a moment, feel the energetic connection there through the core. We're really warming up and heating up those core muscles. And then last time, tuck your toes, lift your knees and thighs, come into your forearm plank, engage your Mula Bandha here now if you can. Engage that lift of the pelvic floor through the mudras and the bandhas. Lift it all up, feel that connection here, energy-wise, and then release. Lower your knees, lower your pelvis. Rest your forehead or rest your head to one side. I like to lift my knees and do little windshield wipers side to side and notice how that feels. Good. And then slowly make your way back into bring your big toes touching, separate your knees as wide as you can, and come back into a very wide child's pose. As you do that, be aware of that physical sensation, how it releases in the back, opens up through the hips, and just notice how that feels. Then I'll invite you to make your way back up into all fours and then downward dog. Shoulder blades down the back. Inhale. And then as you exhale, I want you to look forward and walk up to the front of your mat. Sweep your arms out to the side and come all the way up. Inhale. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And then bring your hands to your hips. And just feel that energetic connection throughout. And now we're going to work a little bit in stabilizing, balancing poses, standing poses. So with your hands on your hips, I want you to get this connection. We're going to work on the gluteus medius. All right, so those muscles that support the outside of your hips for stability. So we're going to just move from side to side. When you're gonna bring your leg out to the side, make sure your toes not pointing out. We want your toes pointing front. So we're gonna lift to the side, transfer the weight, lift to the other side. We're gonna alternate. But what I want you to do is make sure your hands on your hips feel the stability here. So we're gonna extend out to the side and then out to the side. And try to keep the hips stable and balanced. This is not a Thai bow move. You're not swaying. This is not Thai bow. We want it very controlled. So you're really working through here, and I want you to feel that energetic quality, zipping everything up, keeping that control. You might even want to put one hand on your belly, one hand on your sacrum as you're doing this, as a reminder to be nice and engaged through this area of your body. And we're going to do 10 more of this. Okay, out to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your feet feel nice and grounded. 5, 6. Lift up through the crown of your head. Don't sink. 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So hopefully you felt some energetic quality through the gluteus medius right here. All right. So now we're going to work a little bit deeper in the gluteus maximus area, which are the bigger muscles in the back body. And again, you might want to, for stability here, we're going to alternate, but now you're going to bring the leg, we're going to alternate back. A little kick, and then a little kick. Again, if you're feeling unstable, you can rest your hands on a chair. Otherwise, hands on the back, and then one hand on the belly, one hand on the back to keep that upright. Remember that connection that you're not squeezing, you're lengthening and engaged. All right, so we're going to start alternating, extend, transfer the weight, extend, transfer the weight. So you find stability here as you lean, lift back. And you're going to feel that. You don't want to be crunching the low back. You want it to be an extension. So let me, I guess I should start counting. So we'll start counting now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then come back to center. So we're energized those big stabilizing muscles, all right? So this is all about stability and ease in our posture, our everyday posture. So it's not just when you're on your mat, you want to take stability and ease with you out into the world. So let's work a little bit on our tree pose. So again, remember stability. If you're feeling a little unstable, don't hesitate to rest your hand on a chair or wall nearby. But if you can, energetically transfer your weight into your right leg. So our standing leg will be the right leg to start. You're going to take the heel of your left foot. You have a couple options here. You can just place the heel on the inside of your ankle. And as you do that, don't let your body open to the side. See if you can square your shoulders, square your hips somewhat towards the front. Root down, feel stability here. And then energetically, if you feel you can lift the foot, place the foot on the inside of your inner leg, your calf muscle. If you're feeling challenged today and you want to go all the way up, bring the foot to the inner thigh. So that again is, if it's in your practice, you're going to find what feels right for you. Be stable through the four corners of the standing leg. Lift up tall through your heart. You can add the arms. Any arms you choose, whether you want hands to the heart, cactus arms, extend the arms up to the ceiling. Feel whatever works right for you. Root down and lift up. Now, at the same time now that you're here in your tree, engage your pelvic floor muscles. Feel what happens when you start bringing awareness to drawing that in energy, feeling the collection of that energy, keeping the energy in your container. Take one more breath here, and then release. Release your arms, release your legs. So it is really important too, when we start to recognize containing the energy, working with that energy, containing it, that it's not leaking out. A lot of times if we don't have the control, energy is leaking away. But when you draw it in and up, you can really use that power to get engaged, for that energy to really work its all the way up. All right, so that's what we're trying to do, is feel the containment and working within your own energy, not letting it escape. All right, so that's why these movements can be very powerful, but then again, release your grip. Okay, we don't want to be gripping all the time. You need to be able to relax it. So now let's try the opposite side. So left foot, find your balance on your left foot. You can take heel just to ankle. Maybe that's where you want to stay today. If this one side might be more challenging than the other, that's normal. Or slide the foot up the inner to the inner inside, not on the knee joint, either below or above. So take whatever feels right for you. And remember your balance between effort and ease. Arms up towards the ceiling, hands to the heart. Take whatever variation seems right for you. Expand, extend, root down through the extended leg. Engage your bandha, lift the pelvic floor up. Feel the containment there. Feel that containment. Lift up through the crown of your head. Beautiful. And then when you're ready to release, slowly come out. This is your practice. And lower down. Beautiful energy. Beautiful. Feel that energetic quality and the balance. Notice how balancing poses become a little bit more challenging and what those qualities emanate. So now we're going to continue to enhance this pose a little bit more. And I'm going to invite you to step onto your right leg and then hands on your hips. And I want you to extend your left foot behind you. We're going to do balancing, one-legged balancing pose. But I'm going to invite you to extend the leg behind and extend both arms forward and up. So just balancing on your right leg, extend that leg behind. Keep lifting, contain. Remember containment, pelvic floor containment. Draw that energy in and up. And when you do that, notice if you find your balance is a little bit more focused when you engage that. Is it scattered or more focused? And then release. Pause a moment and observe. No judgment, it's just being aware of those sensations. We'll prepare for the other side. So now the left leg is going to be the standing leg, right leg behind you, toe on the floor. And you can remember, you can keep your toe on the floor if that's what you need to today. Hands can stay on your hips. Find your balance right and left, and then extend your arms, and then extend that back leg. Lift, lift. Just lift the leg. You feel that engagement through the back leg, through the glutes, extension of the spine, lifting up. Lift, 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 and then add pelvic floor engagement. Engage it all in and up. See what you notice. Is there more focus and stability? Or are you still feeling somewhat scattered? And then release. Again, no judgment, just bringing that awareness into the physical body. And then relax. Hands to your sides. Good. And then bring your hands to your hips. Extend your right leg forward, your left leg back. And we're going to work through the pelvic area here in a hinge, hinging forward. So be very mindful here how far forward you go. So right now we're going to start with just a half hinge. So inhale, lift your sternum. I want you to keep your awareness in the hips as you fold forward. Imagine you're just folding right over those hip creases. Try to keep the legs stable and straight if you can, but just fold. And if you start to feel your right hip drifting out, take the thumb of your right hand and press that right hip back. We want to try to create a nice, stable sacrum. As if you had a water bottle on your back, keep it there and root down through your feet. Feel the energy down through your feet, up through your legs, and into a nice stable pelvis. Notice how that feels. And then slowly lift up. Use the strength. Bend your knees slightly and lift up so that your hamstrings are not screaming at you, okay? Good. And then we're going to repeat that again. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your sternum, maybe even look up. And then as you exhale, hinge from your hips forward. Come forward and forward. Watch your pelvis. Make sure your pelvis is stable here. And now if you choose to, you can go deeper. Maybe place your hands on your thigh or your shin. Or if you're very available, you can bring your hands to the floor. But watch what happens to your hips. You're stable. Make sure your right hip is not shifting out. You want to press the right hip back and feel the sacrum being very balanced and stable. Some of you might even want to bring your torso towards the thigh and bow your head. So again, depending on where you are in your practice, you can make this pose as deep as you need it to be. To come out of this pose, soften your knees, lift up, maybe extend your arms forward and up, and lift up, look up to the heavens, hands to heart, step both feet together, and just observe. Notice how that felt. We'll do the opposite leg, so now your left leg will be forward, your right leg will be back. Hinge your hands at your hips. As you hinge forward, make sure, try to keep that left hip from going too far forward. Root down through your feet, and then lift up. We'll repeat. Exhale, fold forward, keeping your sacrum nice and stable. And only go as far as it feels supported for you in your own body. And then inhale, coming up. The next time we're going to come down, we're going to hold. So find your area that feels right for you. So maybe placing your hands on your left thigh and staying supported here is the stretch you need today. Some of you might bring your hands down to your shin, to blocks, to the floor. Again, I encourage you to take the variation that feels right in your body. Left hip is back, right hip is slightly forward. Make sure you don't shift your hips out of whack, out of alignment. This is one of the poses that we tend to do that. So I'm encouraging you to maintain pelvic awareness. What's going on in your pelvic region, notice that in this pose. If you choose to go deeper, draw the torso towards your leg. Crown of the head can come towards the floor. Feel the ultimate stretch in whatever variation works for you. And then inhale, soften your knees, sweep your arms forward and up, palms touch. Hands to heart as you step your feet together and just bring that awareness inward. Good job. And then just be aware of those physical sensations. We're going to make our way down to the floor. So I'm going to invite you to find your block again when we come back to the floor. As we get ready, we're going to do a couple more back stretches and then prepare for our guided relaxation of awareness. So come onto your spine, hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. I'd like to invite you to open your knees nice and wide like a happy baby pose and really feel the back of your sacrum broaden, your lumbar spine, and just be aware of what those physical sensations are. Hug your knees into your chest and bring your forehead up to your knees to release any tension. Lower your head to the floor and then place your feet flat on the floor. Walk your heels towards your buttocks, shoulder blades down your back, and let's come up into a bridge pose. So lift the pelvis up off the floor, and then I'm going to invite you to make sure your knees are parallel. Shoulder blades down the back of your neck is long. If you find any discomfort here, really press into the backs of your triceps to help support your cervical spine. That really helps. Sometimes I'll even bend my elbows into the mat, and that takes pressure off of my neck so that I can really get engaged through the pelvis here. So as you do this, this is where I'm going to invite you again to find your pelvic floor, lift through the pelvic floor, feel that engagement without the block. Let this now come more organically through your inner thighs. Feel that lift as you draw together. the Ashwini Mudra, the Svaholi Mudra, the Mula Bandha, all in one. Roll it all up, nice. And then when you release, relax your entire body. Extend your legs long. Extend your arms long. Take a nice long body stretch. Inhale. And as you exhale out, release tension, stress. And just amaze at the sensation in your body to let go of whatever doesn't serve you. So I'm going to invite you now to find your comfortable, relaxed position. Now, you might choose to place a block under your sacrum because you want to do legs up, or you might prefer to have supported bridge or legs up, your choice, or you may just choose to relax in total shavasana, legs extended. So remember, this is your practice. Make this what you need it for yourself. Let this be your practice. So find your comfortable position. Take whatever props you need to get as supported as possible. So I'm going to give everyone a second to get settled in, get as comfortable as possible as we prepare for our relaxation pose with a guided flow of awareness. So make sure your back is lying on a firm surface. If your legs are not up, allow them to be naturally spread apart. Your arms are comfortable. If you desire a light blanket, go right ahead. And soften yourself into the pose. And just acknowledge as you hold yourself, let the weight of your body, the physical body, release. Feel the supports beneath you. Invite your mind to release. As you cultivate an awareness now of an effortless breath around your navel region. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your belly with each breath. And allow your breath to become smooth and rhythmic. Invite your breath to release any trembling or any shakiness. Release the effort by deepening your breath. And allow it to become an energetic pulsation. Allow it to grow smooth and even. Let it become a natural cadence for you. Let it be your cadence. There's no need to follow my direction. Allow it to be your cadence as we move into this flow of awareness practice. Seamless breath. You inhale allows your breath to explore the furthest uppermost point in your body of your inner space. Your exhale explores the lowest extent of your inner space. So you allow your breath to be sweeping inhale, sweeping up the body, and on your exhale, sweeping exhale down the body. As I guide you through these various points. So I'll invite you now to draw your awareness down to your toes. And as you're on your next inhalation, inhale from your toes all the way up to your crown. And then when you get to the uppermost point as the crown, begin your exhalation as you descend down back towards your toes. Inhale from your toes all the way up. Let it flow up to your crown. And then exhale all the way back towards your toes. Inhale all the way up to your crown. And now when you exhale, exhale all the way back towards your ankles. Inhale from your ankles all the way up to your crown. And exhale from your crown all the way down to your ankles. Inhale from your ankles all the way up to your crown. But now exhale from your crown down to your knees. Inhale from your knees all the way up to your crown. Then exhale from your crown down to your knees. Inhale from your knees all the way up to your crown. Now exhale from your crown down to your perineum, your base of your spine, your pelvic area. Inhale from the pelvic area all the way up to your crown. And exhale from your crown down to your pelvic area. Inhale from your pelvis area up to your crown. Now exhale from your crown to your navel center. Inhale from your navel center up to your crown. And exhale from your crown to your navel center. Inhale from your navel center up to your crown. Now exhale from your crown to your heart center. Inhale from your heart center up to your crown. And exhale from your crown to your heart center. Inhale from your heart center up to your crown. Exhale now from your crown to your throat center. Inhale from your throat center up to your crown. Exhale from your crown to your throat center. Inhale from your throat center up to your crown. Now exhale from your crown to the center of your forehead. Inhale from the center of your forehead up to your crown. Exhale from the crown to the center of your forehead. Inhale from the center of your forehead up to your crown. And now exhale from the crown out through your nostrils. Inhale from your nostrils up to the crown of your head. And exhale from the crown of your head out to your nostrils. Now just release any explicit attention to any particular point and just allow your mind to reside in the entirety of its space, from this internal space of awareness. And allow each breath to be a witness as a pulsation of a pranic sensation. That inner energy, that inner space of consciousness is bathed in a pranic vitality. Maintain this space now as you deepen your breath. And slowly begin to bring movements to your fingers and toes, but maintain your inner awareness. As you gently roll onto your left side, you're going to come up into a seated meditative posture. And find your comfortable seat. As we still maintain a meditation posture, find that your head, neck, and trunk are aligned, and you're sitting in a comfortable space. And use any props that you need so that you can stay here for another 10 minutes in a comfortable way. Create a stable base, allowing the weight of your body to rest evenly on the floor or a chair, whatever you need. Feel your legs are physically and energetically contained and grounded in service to a stable base. As you establish a neutral alignment of your pelvis as a stable base of support, try not to collapse forward or backward. Your arms are resting comfortably on your knees or your thighs or in your lap. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your neck is comfortable, aligned with your spine. Withdraw your mind from all directions and become aware of your body and the space that it occupies. Be aware of the energetic qualities. Allow your body to naturally settle in its stillness, to find your seat, find your asana. The experience now of inner space is different now that you're in a seated position. Observe the awareness of the breath now and establish a smooth, effortless diaphragmatic breath. And allow the breath to deepen and grow more subtle and help your body to release any physical tension you may be holding on to. And allow your body to release its effort and be supported by the breath. As you deepen the breath, feel the pulsation of the breath at the navel center right now. And then allow that awareness to draw you inward. And take a few more breaths. We're going to do a practice called a Aharana Pranayama practice. And we begin by just bringing your awareness, that self-awareness, to travel to a series of locations in your body. And while your self-awareness is focused on each location, you will only be aware of feeling the sensation of the breath at that location. Allowing your self-awareness and the pranic pulsation of the breath as a single experience emerging. At most locations, we'll take one effortless breath. A complete breath is an inhalation and an exhalation. I will invite you to maintain the cadence of your own natural breath as you're guided through these points. Rather than forcing your breath artificially, stay with your cadence. I invite you now to bring your attention to the center of your forehead and allow your awareness to rest here at the third eye. Remain relaxed. Do not put any pressure on your eyes and take several breaths. And just invite your mind to feel its self-awareness at the center of your forehead, and that each breath is a pranic pulsation. And then I'll guide you to the following points where you'll take one breath at each of these points. The center between the eyebrows, one breath. At your eyes, one breath. Nostrils, one breath. Your throat, one breath. Shoulders, one breath. Upper arms, one breath. Elbows, one breath. Wrists, one breath. Palms, one breath. Fingertips, 2 breaths. Palms, 1 breath. Wrists, 1 breath. Elbows, 1 breath. Upper arms, 1 breath. Shoulders, 1 breath. Throat, 1 breath. Heart, 1 breath. Bottom of your sternum, 1 breath. Navel center, 1 breath. Pelvic center, 1 breath. Two breaths at the base of your spine, perineum. One breath at your pelvic center. Navel center, 1 breath. Bottom of your sternum, 1 breath. Heart center, 1 breath. Throat center, 1 breath. Nostrils, 1 breath. Eyes, 1 breath. Eyebrow center, 1 breath. Center of your forehead, 3 breaths. Just allow the force of self-awareness and pranic awareness to reside here. And then from the center of your forehead, bring your attention to the uppermost extent of the awareness of your crown as you inhale. And then allow the force of your exhale to flow down, all the way down to your perineum, the base of your spine as you exhale. And then allow a sweeping inhale to come from the perineum all the way up to the crown of your head. And a sweeping motion from the crown of your head all the way down to the perineum. Inhale, sweeping motion all the way up to the crown of your head. Sweeping motion from the crown of your head, exhaling all the way down. Sweeping motion, inhale all the way up. Exhale from the crown all the way down. Inhale all the way up to the crown of your head. Exhale all the way down to the perineum. Inhale all the way up to the crown. Exhale all the way down to the perineum. Inhale all the way up to the crown. Exhale all the way down. Inhale all the way up to the crown. Exhale all the way down to the perineum. Inhale all the way up to the crown. Exhale all the way down to the perineum. Last one. Inhale all the way up to the crown. Exhale all the way down to the perineum. And now just release any awareness at any particular point. Just allow the body to rest in this awareness of pranic pulsation. And then when you're ready, just let your hands float up to your heart. And find gratitude to the inner space that supports the body, the mind, and the breath. And acknowledge the pulse of life to your inner guide, your inner light. Rub your palms together. And then allow the palms to cover your eyes. As you open your eyes into your palms, remind yourself of the inner world that's supporting this outer world. And then just rejoin the outer world with a sense of awareness. Hands to your heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.